Hello there. Welcome back, guys, to Kenobi, our Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi in review. Welcome to Project Potter. My name is Kyler, host, guys. Welcome to episode 4, by far the most visually stunning episode of the series to date. And I think the best episode, spoilers for the score later. But I'm going to get into that, guys. This is probably going to be a quick review because I'm on a tight schedule today. So I'm still going to give you my honest thoughts. But welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Kyle. If you haven't seen the show before, we go through a quick recap of my favorite scenes of the episode, favorite character, worst character, a score out of 10. So guys, episode 4, like I said, I think the best one yet. I think the most visually striking one. This one reminded me a lot of Rogue One in terms of just incredible visuals where they do a lot with lighting here. They do a lot with like dark tones. The underwater base really sells that, but the base behind me, I should say. The only thing I will say is that this episode in particular, in this series so far, a little too much like Fallen Order for me. They got the Inquisitors, which is cool. They got Vader, which is cool. Now they got the base, which is cool. But it's like, it's a little too on the nose for me, right? Like I talked about in past episodes, guys, how Kenobi saves Leia, and it's like straight out of Fallen Order when Cal uses the Force at the beginning, where he's not connected from the Force, he's hiding, he's trying to survive after Order 66. Kenobi uses the Force, and it's like the same thing where I'm like, okay, these are really cool elements, and getting the Inquisitors alone is really cool. But it's like, why aren't we just making a Cal Kestis show? You know what I mean? Like, why is this a Kenobi show if we're just basically taking Fallen Order and putting it in here? But it's still really cool. It's still really good. James Earl Jones as Vader is great because we don't get Hayden Christensen. We don't get young Annie here. Unless he's in like the BAFTA tank, we get James Earl Jones's voice because that's who the original Vader was, obviously. So yeah, I love what they did with the lighting here, guys. It was like, I was blown away. This felt very, very, very close to a movie. This was like, I've talked in the past about how the budget seems to be getting better and better each episode. And I think this was no exception here, where once they went in the base, it was a little convenient how they got in there. I do like that they had kind of the mole in there, or the woman Tala, or whatever her name is, that she has the clearance, and Obi-Wan's like, is your cover still good? And she's like, we'll find out. Obviously, Vader continues to be badass, and we saw him, murk civilians last time, and this time, he wrecks Kenobi. That's kind of where we pick up, guys, not to kind of go out of order here, but when they're like, get the BAFTA tank ready, I was like, bro, we really got another BAFTA tank? And then he started getting flashbacks, and I was like, bro, we just did this in Boba Fett. Like, how many BAFTA tanks are there? And why do we have to keep going back to it? But then he's in the BAFTA tank for like 2 minutes, and she's like, your wounds haven't healed. He's like, I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he's just like, what I didn't love about this episode, guys, is that Obi-Wan kind of gets his groove back, but there's not really a reason for it. He goes to save Leia, and they're like, oh, if you care about Leia, you have to go save her. That was weird to me. Also, guys, one thing I didn't touch on from past episodes, when he first meets Leia, he says, how old are you? Bro, you were there for the birth of the twins. You know how old Luke is. And so Leia was born literally seconds before or after. They're both 10. Okay. So when he's like, you're 10 years old, it's like, dude, you knew who Leia was. You were there for the birth. You know who Luke is. You know how old they are. That was weird to me. I didn't mention that in the past, but it's just strange because it's like, he's like kind of meeting Leia for the first time, but also he was there for the birth. So he like knows her. I don't know. Again, I'm not a huge fan of baby Leia, all due respect to the actress, but it's cool. I love what they did with the lighting in terms of not only the hallways are awesome, how it's like all black and it has like either the white or the red lights there for the Empire, which is really great. The Empire has always had the coolest building structures. It's weird that they're like, oh, this isn't like a base, this is a tomb. And then they were showing people, and I'm like, maybe I'm just not that big of a Star Wars nerd where I didn't recognize any of those people. I thought it was weird they didn't put them in like the casing that they do in Empire. I can't think of the name of it right now. The Han goes in. They just have him like kind of like bounty hunter-esque, but like frozen. I don't know. I think that's what they're going to do to Leia, which is weird, but they have Leia captured. She's in that room. She's about to get like her brain melted or whatever. And then it's all dark. And this was such a cool shot where it's a side shot. And then you just see Obi-Wan light up his lightsaber and cut down a stormtrooper and then turn it back off. And it's like quiet. And the use of silence in this series has been great. I didn't mention it last episode, guys, but when Vader was like hunting Kenobi, it was like Friday the 13th. It was like straight up Jason, dude. That was really, really awesome. And the way that they use silence and then he just appears, really, really menacing and really great towards Vader's character. So I thought there were a lot of great shots. Still don't love Third Sister. There's some things I disagree with. But when the water started coming through and the side, I was like, bro, is Vader about to show up? Are they just going to straight up copy the end of Fallen Order? Spoilers for Fallen Order, but that's like a 4 or 5-year-old game at this point. I really, really enjoyed it. It's just a little too much Fallen Order, a little too on the nose for me, but just off the top of my head, guys, I thought there were some just really stunning visual shots for like anything in the base or they're running around. And then when the fighters come in at the end and start killing everyone, I don't remember who those people were. They said like, oh, Quinn or something. And then like Quinn dies. That was weird to me, but I thought overall just a really strong episode. Okay, guys, the chosen one for me, it's Vader, dude. It's Daddy Vader, you know, it's James Earl Jones. He's badass. He's super powerful. There's a scene where, you know, he tells third sister, like, I told you what would happen if you failed me. And he's like force choking her. And then she's like says something and he like releases the choke for a second. And then she's like, I put a tracker on there. And that's where we find out that she put the tracker on the little robot that that Layla has. And I was like, okay, that's pretty clever. She's like, wherever he goes, the tracker goes, or it follows. And I'm like, well, technically wherever Leia goes is where the tracker falls. So it's like, is that going to end up costing third sister? You got to imagine that Darth Vader is going to kill third sister no matter what, or maybe Kenobi. But anyway, that's like kind of how they're tracking Kenobi still. So we know that this is building up to a Vader Kenobi fight at the end. It should be amazing for him to just kind of go in there and rescue Leia. They did kind of channel the old Star Wars original trilogy where, like, you know, Luke's talking to R2 and he's like opening the elevators for him and stuff, and when they're in the dumpster in New Hope, and he's like 3PO, and it's like, okay, it was cool. And then, like, you know, when Han is, I think 3PO's in New Hope where he's like locking the doors or whatever, and then he has to like stop answering the comms. That was cool, but again, it's like Star Wars is a little samey. But I like how they had some new ideas and they had some new shots, especially here. But yeah, guys, Vader was awesome, and it's just, he's a treat every time. And you know, I said last episode it might have been too much Vader, but I think there was just the right amount here where he was still like menacing. And like when the Inquisitors start failing and you see Vader start like walking down the hallway, you're like, oh, dude, Vader's coming, you better watch out. So I think he was awesome. I think he was my favorite character for this one. Okay, guys, who failed me? The fifth brother. And guys, this makes me sad because he's just been angry and whispering the whole time. And I was like, man, I don't know who plays this fifth brother, but I'm not feeling it. And then I looked it up. It's Sung Kang, dude. It's Han. Han plays it. And, you know, he's not snacking on chips. And that's why I think we're not getting quite the same vibe. But he's just a little too, like, it seems like he shows up late every time. And he's like, I almost had it. And it's like, I wish we had a cooler. I wish there was just like the Inquisitor just in the corner eating like Empire Lays, just like snacking, dude, and just like having a good time, like being way too cool, being like evil but really cool too. And so it's not the Han character, and so I like that he's branching out, but he's just playing it like way too evil. And it's just like he's always whispering, he's always angry, and he's always showing up late, and I'm like, it's just not doing it for me. So as much as I love Han, and guys, I love Han, but this ain't Han, and the fifth brother ain't doing it for me. So he is my the one who failed me. Okay, guys, that brings us to the score. This is a 9-3 for me. This is, I think, the best episode yet. Visually, this was a very impressive episode. I was like blown away. I was watching this on 4K TV, and I just couldn't believe how good it looked. It was great. And I just really enjoyed it. You know, the sound was good. Like I said, my big critique of it and the series as a whole so far is that it's just too much like Fallen Order. Like, I like them taking elements, but again, this should have been a live action Cal Kestis show if they're just going to go this route, because this is literally like almost the exact story of Fallen Order. And I'm just like, I wish there was a little more of an original story. It's kind of like they threw in the baby Leia in there, so that's like a name you recognize, and they obviously have Kenobi. But I would have liked to see Kenobi either struggle a little bit more or like go off on his own story, or like have him go in hiding. It was just kind of like, I don't know. It seems like they're kind of melding stories. So all in all, though, guys, I'm still really enjoying the series, and I think it's one of the higher quality Disney shows so far. There was just so much hype for it that I like kind of wish that it was a little bit more original or a little bit more cleaned up. But overall, I'm very excited for the remaining 2 episodes, and I'm happy that it exists for sure. All right, guys, well, that's it for Kenobi episode 4. Thanks for checking out the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Did you guys like the episode as much as I like the episode? Did you guys have problems with it? Did you agree with my problems? Did you have different problems? Let me know in the comments, guys. Until next time, guys. Peace.